Welcome back, everybody, to Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you learn how to attract an audience online, build influence, and attract more ideal clients. I think I said attract twice, so I'm getting our own tagline wrong again, but who cares? Greg is in the driver's seat. I think today I'm going to just sit here in the passenger seat because clearly I can't do anything right today. But we've got a great repeat guest with us. Angela Kristen Taylor is here. We're talking about working in a virtual environment, which is very timely, sadly, with all of us basically trapped at home. And so we're going to have some fun talking about this, but also just about the future of work, the future of productivity, some interesting things that she's working on that might become more mainstream here over the next, few years, especially the next decade or so. So before we bring her in just a second, I'll welcome in my co-host, the illustrious Greg McDaniel. What's up today?
What up, Johnson? Hey, man, I love doing these podcasts together. We always have the best guests, and I'm Angela, dude, what a rock star. Super glad that she's back. And we were just talking about our own furry terrorists that get up and show their posteriors to the camera, whenever you're doing some work, which is always fun and quite humiliating on my end sometimes. I'm like, oh, Bandito, come on, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's be specific that a furry terrorist does not mean a dude with a beard. He's talking about a cat.
I am talking about a cat.
Just to make that perfectly clear. For any longtime viewers of the show, not listeners, but viewers, you may recognize the back end of his cat, which is very sad. I sadly could probably pick it out of the lineup at this point. But anyway, before we go too far down that road and make me want to kill Greg's cat, let's officially welcome in Angela. How are you?
Hi guys. How you doing?
We're very good.
Matt's insulting my animal, but it's okay. It's okay.
That's right. You'll get over it. I mean, just think. You have like a built-in absorbent for your tears. You can just rub it right into your cat's fur. It's going to be great. Okay, so Angela, you're a coach, the founder, former founder now of a very, very successful VA company. You coached a lot in the productivity space. That was one of the things we talked about with you on your first appearance. We talked about chaos a lot and just how agents are drawn to chaos. So we might get into some of those things because to me they all coincide. But tell folks a little bit, just catch people up on what you do now. What is the main things that you're working on?
Yeah, so it really comes about from my stent as a productivity coach. I've worked with realtors as a productivity coach for 17 years. And what I realized, as you guys know from before, is, there's a big part of chaos that they are attracted to in their lives. But what I realized is that, productivity is rooted in emotion, and how we feel on the inside directly correlates to how we perform on the outside. And I thought, how can I create a better system, better tools for my people, my clients, to be more productive by understanding what blocks them from being productive? And it's funny because I kind of started it out with a 1-hour class that totally bombed because I tried to fit all of that knowledge into an hour, which did not work out very well.
Wow.
But kind of long story short, kind of take a time warp jump. And right now I've created basically like a virtual co-working space with a group of coaches and service professionals. And, I've taken everything that I've done in my business over the years and put it together into a place where everybody can go to be more productive and work on whatever it is that might be stopping them.
Okay.
How did you come up with this whole co-working environment? Was it just you guys kind of came together and you're like, hey, we dig each other's vibes. Let's go. Let's work here, or just kind of like, shit, someone lost their rent. And they're like, oh, come hang with me, and then it's kind of became a thing, or like Matt.
No, Yeah, so really what happened was, that 1-hour course that bombed, I was like, okay, well, I need to put this into a big course, like a program, right? Something that people they buy, and then they have access to all the videos and content and everything. And I put that together, and then I was like, this isn't really like space enough to hold everything that I want to do here. And while I could see how all these different pieces of our lives and businesses connected into what drives or blocks our productivity, I didn't want to do it all by myself anymore. So I started reaching out to other coaches that had specific expertise in different areas, where we have emotional issues that turn up for us, right? The things that block us. So I started reaching out to them, and then they added content to this program. And then at the same time, so you know EXP Realty, clearly, right? So in EXP world, clearly, right? In EXP world, that was created by Alex Howland from Verbella. And so Alex was starting up Open Campus at that point. It was about a year and a half ago. And when he was starting Open Campus, I was at an EXP event, and I was having lunch with Debbie Byrie. And I was sitting there, and we were talking about different ideas that I had for Open Campus. And she goes, I need you to talk to Alex. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I started talking to Alex. And I'm like, Alex, what would be awesome is if you rented out office space here. That would be like super cool, because I would like to have office space here. He's like, funny you mentioned that. We're getting ready to come out with something just like that. Do you want to beta test it for us? And I was like, yeah. So I thought I was getting like one office, like a desk and a chair in this virtual environment. And what he gave me was 12 offices. And then I was like, hey, why don't we put a boardroom in here? Because that would be cool. And then we don't have to share. And so he added the boardroom to it. And then they gave me this huge space that was 36 offices, 2 meeting rooms, 2 boardrooms. And this was February a year ago. So I was like, I don't know what to do with this space. Like, it's just me. What am I going to do in here?
Wandering around a virtual ghost town.
And that's exactly what I did. I would log in there every day, and I'd sit in there for a while, and I'd get bored, and I'd go sit out in the common area and start talking to somebody, And then I was like, kind of put 2 and 2 together and thought, what if I took this course, this program that I'm developing, and put it into this virtual space? What if I did all that together? Mm-hmm. And so that's what I did. I added the coaches and all the different pieces of the puzzle. We created this support team, because when you're working and you're on your own, a lot of times you need like a full staff, but you're not in a place where you have a full staff. So how cool would it be to have that staff there accessible, and then have coaches available to you, and then be able to come into the space and like go to work, have your whole team around you, and be able to do that as an entrepreneur who's working on their own. Like, that would be awesome. So that is essentially what we have now.
Well, because you're more used to working in the virtual, because you've experimented with the EXP campus. So like, you played around with this a lot. You've got way more experience in that than I do. And you've really enjoyed it, from what I understand.
Yeah. No, I love it. I mean, I'm always barefoot. I mean, I hate shoes. And so I'm always wearing, always barefoot and shorts, kind of just relaxing and just comfortable. And, my commute is the right amount. It's 0. There's no line for the barista for coffee in the morning. It's all, it's just dialed in, whatever I want, when I want it. And the nice thing is that sometimes I don't even leave my house for like a day or two. I have everything here. And so I've seen my vehicle isn't getting, so much wear and tear on it. The cost of the vehicle isn't so high for just use and maintenance on it. And when I go out, I'm more intentional, not like just going out because I need to go to an office and go sit there for 8 to 10 hours, right? I go out with a specific purpose, execute on the purpose, come back, take off shoes. That's pretty much where I am. Matt, you played around with virtual spaces before. I mean,
a little bit.
You're not completely new to this.
No, I mean, I think it's going to be one of those things where for people that are especially the more that we work from home, the people that are not used to it yet and struggle with getting into routines, struggle to be productive, or they run into roadblocks that they would used to go to a supervisor, a manager, a tech person. Like if you're used to showing up in an office and you're used to there being these specific roles of different types of people that you could go to for help with different things, when you're working at home, it's like that. It's like, hey, it's you and Google. Congratulations, you have a problem? Go Google it. That's about your only option. And yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Like if your physical space isn't exactly what you want it to be. it's hard to have that accountability of showing up and you get in that zone of sitting down or even just getting in your car and going to an office, because it is a ritual, it is a routine that turns your brain on in a specific way. And so if you can find a way to replicate that in the virtual world, then it makes a huge difference. And then Angela, you mentioned another component, which is just those natural, organic conversations that can take place where you can go out and you can make yourself available for it, or you can kind of put a close sign on the door, so to speak, so you get the best of both. So if you feel like you just want that human interaction and then start some conversations that don't really have a structure or a goal, you can kind of go out into a space that makes that easier. So to me, it's kind of like a virtual version of a real office where you get the best of both worlds, except in the virtual world, you actually can literally lock yourself away and somebody can't poke their head and go, hey, you got a minute?
Yeah, totally. I was going to say, we have a do not disturb sign. You just put like away, and then you have a little clock over your head and it says away.
I need to get a cartoon version that Greg can wear on his hat for real life. It's just a speech bubble over his head attached to a hat. Okay, so let's talk about how. So you said you took a lot of the things, a lot of the elements of what would have been just a coaching program, and the goal was to turn it into a tool or an environment where you get like the same benefits without having to go through a training process where you're just absorbing a bunch of material and then trying to change your behavior. You're like getting into an environment where the environment itself helps change the behavior, without you consciously doing it. Was that kind of, do I understand that right?
Yeah, definitely. And, there's other pieces of it too, because like there's the psychological piece if you're working at home on your own, where I'm going to work. I have focused work time, as opposed to if there's something I don't really feel like doing, I'm going to find something else in my house to distract me, right? So that's part of it, like going to work. And then there's the piece of everybody that I need to talk to is around me. So I can go over and talk to, if I need somebody to look over an email that I'm creating, maybe I want to walk over to the copywriter and say, hey, what do you think of my messaging in here? What do you think of my title? Am I going to, be able to attract attention with a title like this? Or can you suggest something better? Like you can get that second pair of eyes on something, and be able to have a conversation with somebody that's sitting next to you. And, we have in that space, we have classes and events and workshops and things going on every day. So there's something in there that people can say, hey, I want to go to this, and show up for it. But then they can say, well, it's 2:00 in the morning, I'm having trouble sleeping, and I want to learn how to up my LinkedIn profile. Well, great. We have a whole library that you can resource that has a bunch of stuff like that in there, So there's a lot of pieces to it. But the gist of it is saying, hey, I'm going from working by myself and having nobody to lean on, nobody who really understands what I'm going through, to saying I have a huge support team and all these people who understand what I'm going through, and they're right here with me. And whatever I need, I can access it whenever.
When I first joined EXP, and my sponsor, Hank, he's like, hey, man, just go up to Agent Services and they'll give you anything you want. I'm like, that's bullshit. It's not that easy. I go up there, and the gal, I asked her something, and she's like, oh, yeah, hold on. Pop, 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 pop. Bing, there's your link. Here's your contact. Here's this. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. Okay. And I found, I think, and Angela, give me your opinion on this one. I really think that this is, with people being kept at home, a lot of us who can work remotely, I think there is going to be a large group of people that are going to be like, you know what? I'm working from home. You guys made me do this before. My job was still done. I don't want to drive into the office anymore. And I'm curious as all hell, what's it going to do to commercial real estate? If we don't have to go to a physical office anymore.
That's a really valid point. It's a really valid point. And I have one of my corporate clients that I consult for. He's in that exact same place because he has, 2 offices that cost him a fortune every month. And, there's that question, do I continue to pay for that space and have this space, or do I go virtual? It's a valid point and I think, companies like Verbella that, software like Verbella, part of, EXP World Holdings, that you have the ability to work and basically replicate a brick and mortar environment without having to have the brick and mortar. And so with Open Campus, you have the ability as a company to go into that space and have a private suite of offices that allows you to reproduce it at a fraction of the cost of commercial real estate.
No, it's a genius move.
Yeah, and then you don't have to worry about, paying for all the utilities and the internet connections and everybody's internet running slow because the office is full right now, It's like you don't have to worry about that stuff anymore.
Oh my God, I used to get so upset at my old company because all of a sudden the internet would just hit the shitter and just be like, oh, come on, I'm right in the middle of doing something. And then, I'd complain, oh, we have a tech on the way out. I'm like, this is so barbaric. We can do this a better way.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I was really nervous when I stepped out of my past company. I showed up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sitting here in my house. Okay, now what do I do? Uh-oh. And so I just started making phone calls. And I started calling these people, following up with clients and leads. And people were thanking me for calling them. And I appreciated the time. And I'm like, okay, this isn't so bad. This isn't so scary. It was just different. There's a difference between scary and different. And like you walking around a 36 office virtual space going, what am I going to do today?
What am I going to do with it?
Yeah, all this space. But
now
there's people in it, which is the important part.
Yes, there's people there.
So,
lots of
people. How do people get in? How do people find out about it? Kind of take a peek at it, see if it's something that they're interested in, and potentially join up and get into that space.
Yeah, so we have been, this whole program has been in development now for just over a year, about a year and 2 months. And we are at a point now where we have been in beta for 2 months with a group of beta testers who have been really helping us fine tune it. And we are officially launching it out and making membership available at the end of this month, the end of May. And so we do have a page up now at thelimitlesscollaborative.com, thelimitlesscollaborative.com. And so you can get on the wait list for our launch. And when you do that, you get an email back that allows you to schedule time for what I call a show me session that allows them to get like a tour of the space and more information on what that's going to look like and what's going on in that space, on a day-to-day basis now.
So can people customize their own spaces? I mean, kind of whatever they want?
Verbella allows you to do that if you have your own private team suite. In our space, it's more of coming in and working in the common areas. And going into right now, Katie, who is our money mentor in the space and teaches people how to manage their finances when they have roller coaster income and it's not coming in consistently. She teaches them how to create consistency in your income. And coincidentally, Katie used to be the producer for that television show, The Bachelor. And she was a TV producer and documentary filmmaker for 15 years. And so she knows what it's like to be on, kind of freelance income. And so she's our money mentor and financial person in the space. And she's in there right now hosting a co-working block and for the next 2 hours. And, she has it themed and she can teach classes and things that are relevant to her topic during that time period. But she's also available for people who have questions or, want to talk about their finances or their budgeting or, anything along those lines that she's an expert in. And because of her experience as a TV producer, she's also great at, telling a story and creating your what your story is around what you do. And being comfortable on video and things like that. So it's just her expertise, her everything. She's in there doing that right now, and that's fantastic,
Why hasn't this been invented before? I mean, were we just so stuck in our ways of get up, go to the office, work at the office, have lunch, get out of the office, drive home in traffic and angry people in the freeway around you. And now that we can't do that, everyone's just like, oh my God, this is the total better way to do this thing. I mean.
Yeah. I think I've been working virtually for 20 years. I just didn't have a space to be in to coordinate and connect with others that was virtual. I just had me and my computer, and if I wanted to connect with somebody else, I had to jump onto Skype or something like that, before Zoom came out. So, 20 years I've done this, and it's been great. But I think the biggest thing has been, employers have not seen the value. And I know that when I was first setting up my virtual assistant company years ago, that people that was their big concern, was that if you are not in my office, how can you perform at the same level my in-office people could perform? And my argument to that was always, I can perform at a higher level because I'm not in your office,
Yeah, because you're not breathing down my neck. Leave me alone, boss.
Yeah. That's part of it, right? But there's also part that I don't have to deal with the stress of getting up and going to work every day. And my dogs are around me and my kids are around me. And that's not a distraction. It helps me be happy and positive and enjoy what I'm doing in my day. So there's so much to that. And it's just such an important part of, really eliminating the stress and the things that cause depression and would prevent somebody from being very efficient and productive in their workday. Realizing that, hey, we can do a 40-hour job in 20 hours. We don't need 40 hours to do it. And that gives me a lot more time to be free in my day and choose what kind of things I work on. So maybe I can, focus more on self-development because I have that time, because I'm not sitting in my car for hours and I'm not stressed out about the traffic, right? So there's a lot to it. Yeah.
I have as I refer to him, my furry terrorist, my cat. He's not here usually, not now, but usually he's sitting in my lap, as I'm working or something like that. And, it's just, I think your dogs are getting to see you more. My cat gets to see me more. Matt, his dog gets to see him more. I mean, it's just a good, animals help people, in my opinion, help people become happier because, they're stress relievers. You pet that little creature and how are you, interact for a hot minute, then go back to work and, made their day, you made your day a little bit. And, I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of health benefits that we might not even know about that are going to come down the pipe psychologically and spiritually and everything else, emotionally, by not having to deal with the stressors that we used to have to deal with. Because, we can do this. This works out just fine.
Exactly. That's why I said productivity is rooted in emotion. When we feel good in here, we perform amazing out in the world because we feel it. And that makes all the difference. If you're stressed out and you're burnt out and you're struggling to get through your day because you're going an hour commute to a job that you're really not excited about, and then you're dealing with pressures from other people you're working. Maybe there's an annoying coworker that's driving you crazy, or somebody's picking at you or whatever, right? And then you have to fight traffic on the way home, right? And you're eating crappy food because you're not at home, and you're spending money that you don't want to spend on crappy food, right?
So
and then
true.
You get home and you're so dead that you're exhausted, you're physically exhausted, you're emotionally exhausted. You have no time left for your family. And working virtually, that all goes away, all of it.
Matt, you're oddly quiet. You freak me out when you're quiet. So stop it. You're plotting something, and I don't like it.
No, it was the fact that you said you had a hard out, and then you asked the last couple of questions. I was surprised because I thought you had to jump off.
I do have to jump off. Angela, I'm going to come back. We're going to hang out again. I appreciate it, guys. Keep crushing, and that's what I got. All right, guys.
So that's all you got? All right, let's do a lovely light green bow wrapped around this episode. Angela, remind us, where's the website we can go to check things out?
The Limitless Collaborative.com.
Awesome. The LimitlessCollaborative.com. All right, Greg, shall you take us home?
Let's do it, man. Lime green bow wrapped around the show. Did you try to make that rhyme? I don't know, but Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging. Angela, thanks for dropping some serious knowledge in regards to kind of where the potential future of working is going to go in our industry. And yeah, you guys go check out her space there. She just gave it to you twice. And go see what she's got. Go see what she's building. I think it's a really awesome thing. And also remember, go to iTunes. Give us a 5-star, not a 2-star, a 5-star, because that will help us get in front of more folks who might need to see this. But until next time, peace out, ninjas. We gone.